Hi, everybody. This is Mike Saunders, Vice President of Science and Innovation at Nature Sunshine, and I'm here today to talk about chlorophyll. There are a few products that really should be everyday products for everybody in the world, and chlorophyll is one of them. Last time I was in Poland, I spent a lot of time talking about metabolic health and the power line, and that's another set of products that are critical for everyday use, but there are a different set of problems that chlorophyll answers. Now, I live in Utah. In Utah, we have some industry, but we have a lot of pollution. And if you look at the amount of pollution that we have, it's disproportionate to the amount of industry that we have in Utah. It's not that there's factories all around us, it's not that we're creating our own pollution necessarily, but we live in an area with lots of mountains. And the pollution blows in up against the mountains, and it tends to stick there and stay there. So our air quality isn't necessarily great all the time. And if I think about environmental pollution, environmental toxins that I'm breathing in or even consuming, that's when I need to start thinking about chlorophyll. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what chlorophyll is. And chlorophyll, it's the green pigment in plants. It's what makes plants look green. It's the molecule that they use to get energy from the sun. Now, what we do is we take chlorophyll from plants and we change it from chlorophyll to sodium copper chlorophyllin. Sodium copper chlorophyllin is basically a water-soluble version of chlorophyll. And that's actually a really important thing. Normally, chlorophyll is not water-soluble. It's a very lipophilic molecule. It's fat-soluble. We cut off some pieces of the chlorophyll, and we change the central metal ion from magnesium to copper. That makes it water-soluble, but it keeps that same general structure as chlorophyll. And the structure is actually really important because what it does is it actually sticks to certain types of toxins. One of the early things that we started researching on sodium copper chlorophyllin was deodorizing the body, making it so that the body doesn't smell. And the reason why it does that is because it sticks to specific types of toxins. Now, more importantly, there are certain types of toxins that you can get from environmental pollution. Whenever I burn wood, whenever I cook meat or carbohydrates, whenever I'm breathing in pollution from factories or other potential sources, I'm breathing in molecules, specific types of molecules called polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. And the problem with these types of toxins, they get into my body, and normally my body does a really good job of removing toxins. My liver does a good job of metabolizing and breaking down toxins so that my kidneys can excrete them. Unfortunately, there are certain types of toxins that are actually very stable. And they're not just very stable, they resist being broken down by the livers because they're very stable, but they also are not very water soluble. So they get into my body and they tend to localize into my fat tissue. Now, over time, these toxins build up and they store in the fat tissue in my body. And this can cause lots of problems. The easiest, most obvious one to recognize is actually premature aging, because the fat tissue underneath my skin, that subcutaneous fat, that's one of the main places these toxins like to get into. And they start to interrupt my body's ability to produce collagen. They start to interrupt the normal enzymatic function of the proteins in my skin or under my skin that support my skin. This can be something that if you look at people who have smoked for a long period of time, for example, they tend to look old younger. And this is because they're inhaling a lot of these types of toxins that localize into the fatty tissue. Now, how do I get rid of these toxins? The problem with these toxins, again, is they localize in the fat tissue, both under my skin, around my organs, things like that. And once they're there, they kind of stay there because they're not water soluble. They can't really get back into the bloodstream, and my body can't break them down very well on its own. That's the critical, important piece of information about sodium copper chlorophyllin. What it does is it sticks to these molecules. It has to do with the structure of sodium copper chlorophyllin and the structure of these toxins. There's an interaction. It's a chemistry thing called pi stacking. That doesn't really matter. You don't need to know that. What you need to know is that they stick together, and because sodium copper chlorophyllin is water soluble, it actually pulls those toxins back into the bloodstream where they can then be excreted by the kidneys. And you could call this a product that supports many different areas of function in the body, because these toxins build up and they interrupt proper function of different areas, different proteins in my body, different enzymes in my body. We've known about chlorophyll for a long time at Nature Sunshine. Chlorophyll has been a star product for Nature Sunshine for a long time. The difference between our traditional chlorophyll and the new powdered chlorophyll, one, it's a convenience thing. I can take powdered chlorophyll with me wherever I go. I don't spill green stuff on myself. I don't have any messes to clean up. It's a little bit easier to use. But one of the things that I really love about powdered chlorophyll, it's a real Nature Sunshine story. With Nature Sunshine, we use high quality ingredients all the time. Our manufacturing aids, they're not just junk. They're not garbage manufacturing aids. They're not just simple carbohydrates, maltodextrin, things like that. In the case of powdered chlorophyll, we're actually using prebiotic fibers as a carrier for the sodium copper chlorophyllin. So every time I open a stick pack, pour it into water, I'm getting a blend of inulin and guar gum, prebiotic fibers that actually are good for my body, that help my stomach to have a better ability to digest and utilize food, and also help my microbiome become healthier and healthier, because these fibers are feeding the good bacteria in my gut. It's not that I can necessarily say, because of the fiber in one stick pack, I'm going to make a dramatic difference in my health. But as I consume stick pack after stick pack after stick pack, I'm actually making a dramatic difference in the amount of fiber I'm consuming over time. And I'm making a dramatic difference in my microbiome and my gut health. The other thing I love about powdered chlorophyll is the flavor. One of the things about chlorophyll, it doesn't really have a strong taste. It's relatively easy to flavor. You can do a lot of different flavor combinations. In this lime flavor that we did for our powdered chlorophyll, it's delicious. I mix it with all sorts of things. Sometimes I get tired of drinking water throughout the day, so I drink my powdered chlorophyll because that gives me that delicious lime flavor. I even sometimes mix it with sparkling water, so it's almost like a fizzy dessert drink. It tastes delicious, it tastes amazing, and it contains 120 milligrams of sodium copper chlorophyllin. That's another big difference between Nature Sunshine and almost any other company on the market. If I look at competitors, they might say contains 50 milligrams or 35 milligrams or just enough to turn the material green, and they don't even give you an amount. The clinically proven amount of sodium copper chlorophyllin is 120 milligrams, so that's what we put in the product. Every single stick pack has 120 milligrams of sodium copper chlorophyllin. This is a great, convenient way to get your chlorophyll every single day, to help your body remove toxins every single day, to help prevent premature aging, make you feel younger, make you look younger, make you overall more of what you want to become. Thank you.